Hello, I'm Antonio Mora. This is the newsandnews.com Day in Brief on April 24th at about 7:30 p.m. The new strategy at the White House to combat the slew of post-Mueller report investigations and subpoenas seems to be to just say no. Another administration employee was told today to ignore a congressional subpoena, and President Trump said, "We're fighting all the subpoenas." The White House position, stated by Rudy Giuliani, is that, quote, "We already gave them every document and witness we have. Why do we have to do it again?" Just this week, in addition to fighting the subpoenas, the Trump Organization filed suit against Elijah Cummings, the head of the House Oversight Committee, to stop him from accessing its financial records. The administration again ignored a deadline set by the House Ways and Means Committee to turn over Trump's taxes. And today, Trump said that if the Democrats try to impeach him, he would first head over to the U.S. Supreme Court. That could create an existential battle over the basic constitutional principle of the separation of powers. Democrats have fought back. Cummings accused the administration of a massive, unprecedented, and growing pattern of obstruction. Speaker Pelosi accused Trump of stonewalling and a level of secrecy that should alarm all Americans. Americans should be alarmed, but both sides bear great responsibility for putting the U.S. on this path of out-of-control partisanship. You can argue about which side is worse, but we are so divided that nobody would agree. Our leaders should all grow up. Intelligence chiefs have repeatedly warned that cyber weapons and sophisticated hacking pose a greater threat to the U.S. than physical attacks. But, according to a New York Times report today, bringing up cybersecurity, specifically preparing for future Russian interference in American elections, was a no-no around Trump. White House Chief of Staff Mick Mulvaney reportedly told former Homeland Security Secretary Kirstjen Nielsen not to broach the subject with the president because he equates any talk of Russian election hacking with an attack on the legitimacy of his presidency. The report also suggests the Trump administration has actively stifled awareness of foreign attempts to disrupt American democracy, and that Nielsen was silenced when she attempted to raise concerns about Russia's continued efforts to interfere in U.S. elections. She reportedly even felt forced to abandon efforts to convene a meeting of cabinet secretaries to address Russian interference because of her frustrations with Mulvaney's pushback. The White House's National Security Council responded saying, quote, "Any suggestion that this administration is giving less than a full-throated effort to secure America's elections is patently false." Mulvaney said he doesn't recall telling staffers not to mention election security to Trump. Whatever the truth is about the political gamesmanship at the White House, Capitol Hill, and even the media, playing politics with such a serious threat is disturbing. The Times falls into the trap itself, paying more attention to politics than the issue itself, and cybersecurity couldn't be more important. It poses a threat not only to the electoral processes of our democracy, but also to our physical and financial infrastructure. When the Democrats say that the subpoenas and investigations into the Trump administration don't distract them from governing, or the Republicans say that Trump's obsession with the border wall and the legitimacy of his election don't stop him from getting things done, don't believe them. Congress has passed very few bills on cybersecurity, and when it does move to shore up this country's defenses, little gets done. Case in point, in early 2018, Congress allocated $380 million for states to upgrade protections in their election systems. We just learned they spent only about 8% of that before the midterms. And how about the FAA? A 2016 law ordered it to take a series of cybersecurity actions. Compliance with major requirements are almost 2 years behind. And the American people are not paying attention either because they're distracted by the back and forth hollering over no collusion from one side or Trump is a criminal from the other. In an op-ed in the Washington Post tonight, Hillary Clinton weighed in, saying that the cybersecurity is bigger than politics, arguing against impeachment and what she called reflexive partisanship. She called for a 9/11-style commission to address electoral security, but then she got partisan herself, blaming Trump because he has, quote, proved himself unwilling to defend our nation from a clear and present danger. The NSA, CIA, FBI, and DHS are almost certainly taking what steps they can to protect the U.S. from cyber threats. It's long past time for the White House and Capitol Hill to provide the leadership necessary to fulfill the most important role of the government, protecting the U.S. and its people. As the death toll in the terrorist bombings in Sri Lanka keeps climbing, the big question is how in the world did authorities ignore very specific intelligence about impending attacks? Sri Lanka's president has asked for the resignations of the defense secretary and national police chief. Also today, authorities identified the bombers, saying they were highly educated, some having studied in the U.S. and Australia, and that they came from middle-class and upper-middle-class families. It's already Friday morning in Vladivostok, Russia, so North Korean leader Kim Jong-un and Vladimir Putin are about to begin their first summit. Kim is looking for a friend to help him with the U.S. after the failed Hanoi summit with Trump. Putin is looking to expand his influence in the region. The Kremlin has called for six-party talks on North Korea, clearly wanting a seat at the table of denuclearization negotiations. North Korean talks with the U.S. broke down because the Trump administration wants total denuclearization before lifting any sanctions. As former Vice President Joe Biden prepares to announce his presidential candidacy tomorrow, he is getting some big-time support from Republicans. The late Senator John McCain's family is reportedly backing Biden, not only in the Democratic primary, but also in the general election against Trump. Biden was close with McCain, and Trump has repeatedly attacked McCain even after his death. This would be a big boost to Biden because even though he has led in the polls, his momentum waned after criticism about his overly touchy treatment of women. We have all those stories and much more updated around the clock 7 days a week at newsandnews.com, where you'll find all you need to know in one place. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel by clicking on the right of your screen just below this video. Please follow us on Facebook at Real News and News, and follow me on Twitter at @AMoraTV. I'll see you again tomorrow.